So, good day to all of you. Today we will discuss quadratic. Okay, we will discuss quadratic function. Now, recall in our previous sections, we have discussed the quadratic equation, which is written of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, no? But in here, we will focus on the quadratic function, although the two concepts are related to each other. So a quadratic function can be written into two forms. We have the standard form and the vertex form, no? So again, a quadratic function, it can be represented by a standard form, or it can be written into a standard form or a vertex form. So a standard form, this is written as f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So, diba, ang ato quadratic equation, it is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So, in turning this one, or in converting this one into a function, we only have to change or to substitute y, or to change the variable y into 0 and copy the left side of the equation. Now note that y is just equal to f of x, so pwede na to isuyat nga y is equal to this particular polynomial, or f of x is just equal to ax squared plus bx. So here, ax is our quadratic term. Ax squared, this is our first term. The second term, this is our linear term, no? And the third term, we have here our constant term. So, note, always be reminded that the variables a, b, and c here are elements of real numbers, and a should not be equal to 0. Why? Because if we will allow the value of our variable a to be 0, then we will no longer have a quadratic function, but rather a linear function. Kaya nga naman, this will become 0, and automatically, bx will be our first term, which has the degree 1. Now, that is a linear function. But, we are talking about quadratic function, which means to say that the function is a second degree polynomial, or its highest degree or its highest exponent should be 2. No? Klaro na? So, proceed kita sa vertex form. Now, the vertex form, this is written of the form, okay, erase this one. This is written of the form f of x is equal to a times x minus h squared plus k. So, in here, the vertex is the points h and k, and a also should not be equal to 0. Okay? How do we convert a standard form into a general form, or the vertex form, or vice versa? So, let us try in here. So, from standard form, okay, to vertex form, no? So again, the standard form, this is f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. We will turn this one into the vertex form, which is f of x equals a times h minus k squared plus k, no? So this is x. What's that? So this is x minus h squared plus k. So first is mag-start kita sa standard form, and then we will convert this one into the vertex form. Example. So for example, we have here the function y is equal to 2x squared minus 4x plus 5. So how are we going to convert that one into the vertex form? Now note that one of the key components of the vertex form are the points h and k. So to get this, we have to secure or to follow a formula. So to get the k, this is just simply the negative b over 2 times a. And to get the k, this is just equal to f of h, or simply we just have to substitute the value of our h to the function, no? So in here, before kita mo proceed pag substitute ng values ni a o ni b, we have to identify first the variables, no? So here, our a or the first term, this is 2. Our b or the second term, it's negative 4, and we have our third term, that's 5. So we have to get the h and the k, no? So in here, we have h. This is equal to negative p over 2a. So our b, that's negative 4. Negative 4 times negative, no? From the original formula. So we have here, or the original formula. So we have here 2 times the value of our a, that's 2 still. So we have here negative 4 times negative, that's positive, over 4, we get 1. So the value of our h is 1. Now we have already here the value of our h. The next thing, or the next thing that we have to find is the value of our k, which is f of h. So we just have to substitute the what? The value of our h to this particular equation, no? So from here, ang ato function, this is 2x squared minus 4x plus 5. Note that our f of h, or our h here, this is just 1. So substitute lang nato. We have here 2 times 1 squared minus 4 times 1 plus 5. We get 1 times 1, obviously that's 1 times 2. We get 2 minus 4 times 1, that's 4 plus 5. So 2 plus 5, that is 7, minus 4, we get 3. So now we already have the value for our h and k. We have 1 and 3. Next is we just have to substitute this to our vertex form. So from f of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k, this will become f of x, ang ato a from the original function, this is 2, right? So copy lang, as well as the variable x minus ang h nato, we have here 1 squared plus ang ato k, 3. So ano na, we have the vertex form, f of x is equal to 2 times x minus 1 squared plus 3. So from y, or f of x rakan, kaamo may tagkaandan, from f of x, which is equal to 2 x squared minus 4x plus 5, 4x plus 5, this is our standard form. If we are going to convert that one into the vertex form, then that would be the face, no? That would be the case, okay? What if we would like to convert the vertex form, vertex form to standard form? So from vertex form, recall kita, it's f of x is equal to a times x minus h squared plus k. Then the result would be f of x, this is the standard form, is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. So example, we will use the same function kaganina, no? We have here our vertex form y, or f of x na kanato gamiton kay mas naanad man kamo dyan. Anyways, either of the two, depende sa isyo. f of x is equal to times x minus 1 squared plus 3. So how are we going to convert this one into the standard form? So we can use, what we have to do is to simply manipulate the terms or the given equation, no? So copy kita, f of x equals, now we'll start with the terms inside the parenthesis, or that is squared, so we have to use the FOIL method. X minus 1 squared is simply x minus 1 times x minus 1, no? So x times x, we have x squared. X times negative 1, we have negative x, and this is negative x. We have positive 1, so we get x squared minus 2x plus 1, no? So x minus 1 squared, this is just equivalent to x squared minus 2x plus 1 plus 3. Next, we have to distribute these two to every term inside the parenthesis. So 2 times x squared, we have 2x squared. 2 times negative 2x, we have negative 4x. 2 times 1, we have 2 plus 3. After this, we will combine the like terms. So f of x equals 2x squared minus 4x plus 5, no? So to check if equivalent pa gihapon, no? Try to compare the previous example, no? Kay the same raman gihapon ang each form. Try to check if ang resulta pa gihapon is the function 2x squared minus 4x plus 5. So ingana na nato siya. Now we're done with converting the standard form of a quadratic function to the general form or to the vertex form and vice versa. So we will discuss the graph of a quadratic function or the so-called parabola, no? Okay, let me draw this here. Wait man. Draw na to. Okay. Loki rang eraser ni ma'am. Nawayang eraser, so we have to use this. Okay, so saan niyo ni makita? So I'm going to make two gaps here. One with the parabola that opens downward and one with the parabola that opens upward. So sagdi kung dili perfect, no? So a parabola. So a parabola, this is what we call the graph of a quadratic function, and this may open downward or this may open upward depending on the value of a, no? Depending on the value of a. Like for example, if we have here f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 5x minus 3, no? For example, so identifying the values of our a, that's 2, or kung gusto niyo identify sub si b, this is 5, and c, this is negative 3. But as for the direction of the parabola, so you only have to make the variable a as your basis. So if a is greater than 0, then the parabola opens upward, no? If a is greater than 0, that means the parabola open upwards, or these are the set of positive integers. Now if a is less than 0 or the negative integers, then the parabola would open downward. And also, may I also add here that if the absolute value, no, of our a is less than 1, then the graph, this means that the graph is wider, and if the absolute value of our a is greater than 1, this means that the graph is narrower compared to the graph of y is equal to x squared, no? So ana siya. So now we will identify the parts of the parabola, or the things that you must consider in graphing the parabola or the graph of the quadratic function. So this one, the first graph, this opens downward. The second one, this opens upward. So the common thing here are the vertices, no? So these are the vertices. So when a parabola opens downward at the vertex, so this is where we find the maximum point, no? Ang maximum point, this is ang pinakataas kibali na point if the graph opens downward. And if the graph opens upward, so we have here still, this is the vertex, we have here the minimum point. Okay? Now, I am sure that you are familiar with this, no? So, this one, now this is an imaginary line. Sagdirakan lamang ko niya na pagka-drawing. So, this is an imaginary line that divides the graph into two equal halves. This is what we call the axis of symmetry, no? So this is the axis of symmetry, or the line that divides the graph into two equal halves. So to get the axis of symmetry, ang formula ana niya is simply the x or dh, which is just equal to negative p over 2a, no? That is just the axis of symmetry. Now, say for example, diri ka sa pikas na graph. If I have here, one point here, another point here, no? And then, isuyatrakan sab nato ang axis of symmetry. Sagdi kun hiwi, basta kay dapat straight yun siya. And then, the left side of the graph or the parabola should be equal to the right side, no? So, if we have here a point, no? Point here, and also another point here, these are the so-called intercepts. So, kaninga point o kaninga point, they are called the x-intercepts, or the points that passes through the x-axis where y is equal to 0. And the point here, this particular point that passes through the y-axis is the so-called y-intercept, where x is equal to 0. Okay? Naka-follow ra? So, to top it all, the parts or the things that you have to get first in graphing the parabola or the graph of the quadratic function is you have to consider, no, the vertex or the minimum point, the maximum point, the intercepts, the x and y, and also you have to think of the domain, or to consider the domain and the range. So the domain here, these are all the possible values of x, which ranges from negative infinity to positive infinity, and we have the range here. These are all the possible y values, no? So before I forget, the vertex, this is where, aside from the fact that this is where the minimum and the maximum point is located, so the vertex also, it is the point where the axis of symmetry passes through. So to give you a more concrete example, let us solve or get the values of these things so that we could start graphing a particular function or a particular quadratic function.